Okay, family, thank you so much for joining me once again on another solid episode. If you're already here, if you can, hit the like button. And if you're not a subscriber, be part of our family by being a subscriber. And don't forget also to put us on notification. Very, very necessary. Family, when you listen to French commentators these days, you listen to them in the European Parliament, you listen to them on TV stations, radio stations, or their media houses, even on interviews, including their president, whenever they are talking and the conversation switch somehow and lands around the Sahel, there is one key thing that they always mention, that they have helped the Sahel to fight insecurity in the region over there. Their presence there actually kick away this T group that are disturbing them these days. These are the conversations. So kind of like trying to make it look like the Sahel has been, they are ungrateful. Even, the president of France made that comment. He made the point clear that these countries are ungrateful. Ibrahim Traore came in defense and decided to actually explain the situation, why it became necessary for the French troops to actually leave, especially Burkina Faso. What was their effect on the ground? Because when you come, you are coming to help somebody fight insecurity. In the first, second, third year, the situation should be getting better in terms of security. If you are coming to train our soldiers and make our army powerful, in the first, second, third, fourth years, it should be yearly improvement. Once you are considered as the most powerful, the most intelligent, the most capable that can build our army, yearly, we should be seeing improvement. So if we are seeing improvement, our army is becoming stronger, we don't see the reason why we will kick you out. If the insecurity is going down and then we are gaining ground when it comes to security-wise, there should be no need to kick you out. You, as a powerful country, you are not supposed to come train our soldiers, as you claim, making our army powerful so that we can stand against insecurity. Then yearly, the performance of our army is rather declining, while the performance of the T group are rather improving. So Ibrahim Traore has this to say: was France actually helping the Sahel militarily to build their army strong to be able to defeat insecurity or not? We are going to find out. In the speech of Ibrahim Traore, I translated it. He mentioned the French military instructors. I want you to pay attention when we start playing the clip. Pay attention to the French military instructors, which were in Burkina Faso. What were they implementing? In whose favor? Before the government, somehow pressure came and these French instructors were taken out of the country. But somehow, the French politicians, somehow they influenced the Burkinabe politicians those days to actually pressure the president then to take these French instructors back. And according to Ibrahim Traore, these French instructors, military instructors, they've become dangerous to the army and then pulling the army backwards to the point where it gets to a point in the life of Burkina Faso, their security personnel in some point, instead of holding gun and guiding and watching, they are holding stick. The reason why we are bringing back this video to play is because what is happening in the Sahel, the narrative connecting it is that it is because France is kicked out, and so therefore the army of Burkina Faso is become less powerful to deal with the situation and blah, blah, blah. That is what their media is pulling out. So listen from the horse's own mouth, family.
The most dangerous are the military advisors.
Okay, advisors are the same as instructors. Okay, these advisors, they are the people that dictate what happened on the field, how many army they should recruit and all that. So are the advisors. The translation, use advisors, but when you listen from French, instructors. All right, let's go.
The most dangerous are the military advisors. Military advisors exist in all these countries. They existed in Burkina as well until the end of 2022, until we took responsibility. And who are these military advisors? They are the ones supposed to implement France's policy here. They must work to make our armies very weak so that France can always have the argument to exist here.
Now, the Blaise compared this Gasapo Palayira, they succeeded. Our sentinels were standing guard with sticks. And that's what France wants from our armies. When we reach this stage, that is, we have no choice but to want them to come and settle.
But the Burkinabe army managed at one point to get rid of the military advisors.
Unfortunately, I think that in 2019, after Operation Otapoinu, when the French saw that the Burkinabe army still had the capacity to respond to terrorism, they called the chief of staff to France. They instructed him to reinstate the military advisors throughout the structure. Well, he did not accept, but upon returning to the country, the politicians instructed him to accept the military advisors. And that's when the military advisors returned to the Burkinabe army in 2019. With all the consequences we know, the army was disappearing in the years 2020, 2021. And besides, that's when many soldiers had to desert because there was no more hope. We were collapsing. That's a bit how they work. At the General Staff Headquarters, in all the army staffs, in the schools, they are the ones supposed to dictate the policy of our army. They are the ones who tell us how many to recruit, when to recruit, and what to do with them. They are in the schools to tell us how to train them, and so on. As long as these military advisors are there, you are not independent. Your army will just have the appearance of an army that will be there doing parades, a circus. But when war comes, you will realize that a parade is one thing, but war is another thing.
We must break the agreements. It's the only way to have an independent army and build ourselves up to be strong. But many people may not understand this. And even with these agreements, France selects officer cadets from our states to train them. It's through these same agreements. But in reality, these officers who go to train, for the most part for France, they come to serve the French state in their country. They do not come to serve our countries.
So when they pick the cadet boys and they train them, okay, that they're training them for counter-terrorism, they train them in a way that they don't have to protect the interests of their country. They end up protecting the interests of France. Beautiful.
They do not come to serve our countries.
They train them to serve the interests of the French state.
As proof, when we revolted, many officers in Burkina who were trained in France were immediately contacted to be told that it was time to take action because they were trained for that, to serve France's interests.
You see? So when Traoré is saying that when they took over, some of these guys that they picked from among them and trained them, they contacted them that this is the moment where they were trained. That when things like this happen, military takeover, they are going to be the people that they will use if the government in place refuse to, work with France. Then these guys will come on board and then launch operation against this particular government. So it's black against black. Let's put their heads together kind of thing. And listen to what he said. The people also, they are awake. They are awake. So they called and elected them.
Most of these officers reported back to us. We took note and we continue to monitor. When an officer trained in France arrives in his country and unfortunately dies either by accident or on the battlefield, in France, there is a night of tribute to the fallen in the army as everywhere else. During the tribute night, the name of the officer in question is mentioned, and it is said that he died for France.
They do not train him to serve his country, they train him to serve their state. And in many African states, there are plenty of these officers. How many are patriots? God knows it. It's a lesson that Emmanuel Macron gave again to African heads of state to catch up and really lead this fight against imperialism. But in addition to that, he also insulted all Africans in his remarks. There is a part that caught my attention where he talked about ingratitude, and that ingratitude is a non-communicable disease to humans. He is human. Our ingratitude is not transmissible to him. That's how this man sees Africa, sees Africans. We are not humans in his eyes. Maybe he is the one who is not human. He does not place himself in the class of humans. I think that if he is not an atheist and he prays every morning when he wakes up and prays, he should also pray to the Africans. Because it is thanks to our ancestors that there is a France today. He should pray to us. In his eyes, we must not be humans. We are more than humans. Those who want to wake up, wake up. Those who do not want to wake up, as they say, you cannot wake someone who is not asleep. Africans must wake up. We must work to be independent, to at least ensure that our people know happiness. And the fight against imperialism, that's it. We must decolonize mentalities, take all this data into account because the world gives us so many examples to see. For them, there is no morality. They can label you a terrorist today, but tomorrow you are a hero. By their mere words, they decide what they do. They talk about democracy, but they carry out constitutional coups among themselves. They speak of human rights, but they decimate populations elsewhere.
Beautiful. That is Ibrahim Traore, the president of Burkina Faso, explaining the situation. What exactly the French military advisors or instructors were doing. And we have many of this in so many of the Africa countries. Whenever you say your country is partnering with France, even Ghana here, yeah, you have military advisors or instructors. They instruct your army, you know, in terms of what to do. So everything you think your army is knowledgeable of, if I should put it that way, is from these advisors. You understand? So this was how their army was practically declining. The presence of France there, according to the Ibrahim Traore, the army was the performance of the army was declining. He used the word, we were disappearing. Burkina Faso was not having army. You see, he said something that caught my attention. He said, all these people that have these military advisors or instructors in their country, the best thing that your army can do is, you know, parade. When war comes, that is where you realize that parade is a different thing and war too is a different thing. That's a hard line right there. So when the French forces are telling us that, yo, because their presence is no longer in the Sahel is going to fall and all that, Traore asked a particular question on an interview. He said, look, some of you in the Europe over there, you think your army, I mean, God did not come down, angel did not come down from heaven to come and train your army. You use your brain, so we can also use our mind. And he said, this thing happening in the Sahel, this banter up and down between the armed forces of AES and these prodigal sons, he said, these are things that are going to train the soldiers to be very powerful because these give them experience how to fight. If you bring in the French troops there to come and help them or fight in their terrain, they cannot survive it because they know the terrain more than them. If you take them to the French terrain, maybe they might not, but because the French troops understand their terrain more than them. So they understand this domain, they understand their situation better, and they can fight it better, and they can use their own experience to train themselves. They don't need anybody to come and train them. This is a masterpiece right there. So next time you hear these French, commentators, the politicians, including their president, talking about how they have been in the Sahel, they help the Sahel in terms of insecurity and all that, go and get some gari and put some sugar inside and drink and sleep. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. See you in the next episode. Respect.